Some Instagram stories disappear after 24 hours, others disappear almost immediately beneath a wave of online theories. That has been especially true for Travis and Katie Clark lately, where even the smallest updates seem to spark conversations far beyond what was originally posted. A quiet evening reflection about therapy, a simple outfit recommendation, a romantic song lyric, a Sunday walk into church, and even a missing handful of Instagram posts all became talking points this week. Not because of what Travis and Katie explicitly said, but because of how online communities chose to interpret them. Travis Clark recently shared 2 Instagram stories that felt unusually personal. Sitting beside the family's backyard pool at sunset with a guitar resting across his lap, he posted a long list of short reflections about healing, accountability, rebuilding trust, honesty, reconciliation, and personal growth. Rather than presenting them as inspirational advice, he labeled the collection Therapy and Counseling Thoughts. A second story followed shortly afterward, where Travis explained that he had been writing these notes throughout the year after receiving a message that encouraged him to document what he was learning. He admitted he was still figuring things out, saying some days were better than others, and thanked everyone who had continued praying for his family over the past year. On Instagram, the stories read like someone sharing personal reminders that had helped him through a difficult season. Reddit, however, read them very differently. The thread opened with skepticism, questioning whether someone only months into publicly discussing therapy should already be sharing life lessons. From there, the conversation quickly expanded. Some users interpreted several of the quotes as indirect references to Katie, especially the ones discussing healing, transparency, and rebuilding trust, even though Travis never mentioned her by name. Others dismissed the list as sounding more like motivational quotes collected from the internet than deeply personal reflections. Interestingly, while the first story received most of the criticism, far fewer people focused on the second story, where Travis repeatedly acknowledged that he was still learning and wasn't claiming to have all the answers. By the end of the discussion, the debate wasn't really about the quotes anymore. It had become another conversation about how much credibility people were willing to give Travis whenever he spoke publicly about personal growth. Not long after that discussion settled down, Katie unintentionally became the center of another Reddit thread because of a story that had nothing to do with family updates at all. Standing beside the pool during sunset, she simply modeled a pair of denim drawstring shorts she had purchased the day before, telling followers she loved the color and the length while including a shopping link. The story was clearly about clothing, with no personal announcement, no cryptic caption, and no obvious hidden message. Yet once screenshots reached Reddit, the focus shifted almost immediately. The thread title suggested there might be a soft launch, prompting speculation that Katie could be quietly hinting at another pregnancy. What happened next was more interesting than the theory itself. Instead of embracing the speculation, the majority of commenters pushed back against it. Many argued that people had repeatedly analyzed Katie's body for months without any announcement ever following. Others pointed out that body posture, camera angles, or even normal day-to-day changes could easily explain what people thought they were seeing. As more comments appeared, the thread slowly transformed from pregnancy speculation into a broader conversation about the dangers of constantly analyzing someone's body. Several users openly criticized the habit, saying discussions like this could easily become body shaming rather than harmless guessing. The next discussion began with another one of Travis's Instagram stories, although this one looked even simpler. During a drive through the countryside, he filmed Katie sitting in the passenger seat while looking out across the fields. Instead of writing his own caption, Travis overlaid the clip with lyrics from a Connor Smith song that included the line, "I swear I'm seeing heaven in your green eyes." That single lyric immediately became the focus once the story reached Reddit. The thread opened by questioning whether Travis had forgotten that Katie's eyes are generally seen as blue rather than green. But surprisingly, that debate disappeared almost as quickly as it started. Within a few comments, users had moved on to discussing something much larger. Some argued that Travis's increasingly romantic posts felt different after everything the couple had experienced over the past year, while others pointed out that he hadn't even written the lyric himself. It simply came from the song he chose. Even so, many commenters viewed the story through the lens of previous events instead of the post itself. By the end of the thread, hardly anyone was talking about eye color anymore. The conversation had evolved into another debate about how every affectionate post Travis shares is now interpreted differently because of the couple's recent history. Katie's next story produced a much calmer reaction. It showed her walking into church on a Sunday morning with Hailey holding her hand and carrying a Hello Kitty plush. The caption was simply Sunday. While the warm morning sunlight framed the mother and daughter moment from behind, there was no speaking, no explanation, and no attempt to make the story into anything more than a snapshot of their morning routine. Reddit noticed something else entirely. Rather than discussing church itself, many users focused on Katie's pale yellow matching set, with the thread opening by pointing out how often she seems to wear coordinated outfits. The discussion stayed surprisingly light. Some people complimented the outfit and said they would happily wear it themselves, while others joked that Katie seems to own endless matching sets. A few longtime Bates followers also observed that seeing Katie wear pants to church would have seemed unusual years ago, when the family followed much stricter clothing expectations. Compared with recent discussions surrounding pregnancy rumors or relationship speculation, however, this thread remained mostly centered on fashion and how Katie's personal style has gradually evolved. The final conversation didn't begin with an Instagram story at all. Instead, Reddit users noticed something that many casual followers probably would have missed entirely. Travis's Instagram profile now displayed 93 posts instead of the 99 users remembered seeing previously. There was no explanation from Travis, no announcement that anything had been removed, and no indication of which 6 posts had disappeared. Yet that small change was enough to launch another lengthy discussion. Because nobody actually knew what had been deleted, nearly every comment was built on speculation. Some believed Travis was simply cleaning up his profile to present a different public image moving forward. Others wondered whether he was preparing for future appearances connected to his new church or other projects, and wanted a more carefully curated account. Several users argued that deleting posts wouldn't change public memory anyway, suggesting that the internet rarely forgets old controversies even after content disappears. Interestingly, despite the thread being entirely about deleted posts, almost nobody could identify exactly which posts had vanished. The conversation wasn't driven by evidence so much as curiosity about why the profile looked different. Looking at these discussions together, a clear pattern begins to emerge. Travis and Katie's actual content has become increasingly ordinary. Personal reflections, song lyrics, clothing recommendations, Sunday routines, or small profile changes. Yet once those moments leave Instagram and reach Reddit, they often take on entirely different meanings shaped by past events and the audience interpreting them. Sometimes the original subject survives only for a few comments before the conversation shifts somewhere else completely. Whether it's therapy notes, denim shorts, a romantic lyric, a matching outfit, or 6 missing Instagram posts, the biggest story is rarely the update itself. It's the way every new post now arrives carrying the weight of everything that came before, turning even the smallest moments into discussions far larger than they were ever intended to be.